Yo, what's up with y'all, man? It's your boy TB Digital. Today I'm gonna be breaking down how to make like soul-ish type samples. Also gonna be breaking down a VST called Ripcord that you could use. And then on top of that, if you watch to the end of the video, I'm gonna give you this free FLP as I do always. So all you gotta do is like, comment, and subscribe and watch this whole video and don't skip through.
They know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm gonna say because it's polite. They know what I'm gonna say. I'm not saying I'm gonna rule the world or I'm gonna change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job. To succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then
what I want to do is let's go ahead and get into these chords right here. The VST that I use is Keyscape. I like using is LA Custom 7 Softest or Natural, but the VST that I want to show you today is called Ripcord. First of all, this plugin is a free plugin. Basically how it works is you load up a preset right here. Creators of these presets, they make chord progressions inside of a note. So if I press a note, what's going to happen is going to play a whole chord, but before I do that, I got to route it. When you're working with plugins like these, Scalar, Cthulhu, Ripcord, chord generator, stuff like this, you want to put your output port on number 1, and then you want to put whatever sound input port in number 1. Now the preset bundle that I have is Prisms 3, but if you actually go to Ripcord on their website, they actually got community presets that you can get for free. And I actually went through some of these and they got a couple that's actually pretty fire. So you could literally use this plugin and get free presets all for free. Let's go ahead and get into the actual chord progression that I came up with. Now, there's a lot of things that's different. First off, Ripcord is just giving you the chord, so it's not gonna sound like this. So you gotta arrange it. So my BPM range is gonna be like 70-ish up to like 90. The thing you wanna do with your chords is you wanna make them realistic as possible. A lot of times, I take all my chords and I turn the velocity down, just so it wouldn't be so hard. Second, what I want to do is I want to strum my notes. When a piano player is actually playing something, it's not exactly on time, especially when you're going for stuff like this, because it's all about the swing, and you're gonna hear that with the drums. Now, a couple things you could do is you could hit Alt R, and you can play with your velocity in your pen, and you can also hit Alt S, and this will help you with your strumming in the time. Also, on some of the chords, I don't have them all playing at once. Like as you can see right here, I bring this D back. Also, just adding a little like riff on top of here. As far as the effects that I put on here, first effect that I put on here is a plugin called Sketch Cassette 2. And one thing that I do with this is I play with the A, play with the brightness, the flutter, and the wow, and that was really it for the piano. What I like to do with my soul samples, I like to put a little percussion loop underneath the sample. It just adds bounce to the melody. This is what the percussion loop sounds like, and that's what it sounds like with no effects. Now, I did put some processing on here. So first thing I did is I EQ'd it. And what I wanted is that kick, because that kick was setting the bounce of the whole melody, and it also helped with the drums. So I just boosted a little bit of the load. And then what I threw on here is a VST called Porter, but it's like an effect plugin. It has these crazy presets. So the preset that I use is called Light Water. So next thing that I added here is a vocal chop. This vocal chops comes from Splice. Now, one thing that I like to do on Splice when I'm finding vocals, so the key of this song is D minor. So what I usually do, and this is just a real easy way to find vocals that fit with your melody, I go ahead and filter the search out. So when I'm searching for type of samples, if I'm in a BPM range from 0 to 100, I'm gonna go for that. If I'm in a range from 100 and up, then I'm gonna search for that, just so when I stretch it, it could sound natural as possible. And then I put it in D minor. Hit play. It's really easy to find samples that way. It's already in key. But one of the things I did on here is I went ahead and threw this in Edison. And what I like to do for my vocal samples is I degrade the sample rate. So the sample rate is usually going to be like 44,000 hertz. And what I did is I put this at 5,000 and I hit resample. So now it's kind of like this lo-fi feel, like it's kind of muffled, and that's the effect that I was going for. And I pulled up little Alter Boy and I turned the format up to 2. And what this does is it's kind of like playing with the pitch, except it's still keeping that natural part of the voice. And the reason why I like using the format instead of the pitch, because if I turn the pitch down, it starts to sound robotic. And then next what I have on here is a little bit of reverb from Ambience. And Ambience is a free plugin, bro. They have crazy like room and drum presets that I actually put on my vocals. So then next what we have here is another vocal chop. And this is what it sounds like with no effects. So first plugin that I put on here is Portal, and what I was looking for mainly was just a nice effect that could kind of flip it into something else. Then what I threw on here is a little cassette, and I really did this just to take the lows out. Throw a vinyl on here, most of the time it's gonna take the lows out. And then last what I threw on here is just a little EQ, and I filtered it out. I took the lows and the highs. So a lot of ways that you could put something in the background of your mix is either by EQing it out, like the lows and the highs, and putting a filter on it, adding reverb and turning it down. Those are ways you could put something in the back of your mix so you can hear it, but it's blended together. All right, so next what we have is this one shot, and I'm gonna take the effects off. One really good one shot I recommend is Coop the Truth one shot. He has these crazy sounds in here. Also, I put crazy bell sounds in my Digital Crate Volume 2, so I'm gonna go ahead and play some of those sounds for you. I really just look for like accents that you could put in the background. First thing I put on here was Ambient. Just like I said, Ambient sounds really, really good on bells. It's a free reverb plugin. Then what I put on here is Primal Tap, and the preset that I put on here is Space Station. And then I put on here is Tremolator, and this is kind of like a gate. I don't really know how to explain this, but you kind of hear the rhythm when I play it. And then I just put Pan Man on here, and what I like about Pan Man is it automates the panning. So instead of making an automation clip and doing all that work, you just put Pan Man on here, and as you can see, it's swinging to the left and right really, really fast. Alright, so that's really it as far as the melody. So as far as the drums, what I started off with is just a hi-hat. Now, when you're working in this BPM range, it's all about swing, bro. So one thing I like to do is I put my snap to grid on none. I hit Control A, and then you hit Alt in the right or left arrow. And what you see with these hi-hats is they're slightly off the grid. And then what I put on here is a little rim. Now, as far as like your snare, rim, clap, snap, whatever one you want to use, just play around with the bounce a little bit. It don't always have to be doo-doo, doo-doo. So next what I have is a kick, and this is one of my favorite kicks. It's really a distorted kick. This kick is from my bro Chaotic drum kit. One thing that I do here is I turn this time stretch knob down. It makes the kick sound deeper, and it just makes it hit a little bit harder. And then what I have here is just some open hats and a cymbal. One thing that's really helps with your bounce and your swing on drums is percussion loops. Throwing a percussion loop underneath your drums is just gonna help with that swing. Like some open, like an open hat hi-hat percussion loop, or like some shakers and some perks. Basically what I did with this percussion loop, I just chopped it up just to help it with the bounce. And then, you know what I'm saying, just adding little fills and rolls or snares in between. So we got this right here. As you can see, my drums, I have them directly in the playlist. For some reason when I put my drums in the playlist, it just hits harder when it goes straight to my master channel. And also on my master channel, what I have here is a clipper just to help make your drums hit hard. What helps me with my bounce is I see my drums, like I see all my drums. When I do it in my pattern, you can see your drums if you have your ghost notes enabled and shit. But I don't know, they just look better to me like this. I see them better. So next what I got here is a bass. Now what I did for this is I started with a actual guitar bass, and then I moved to an 808. So as far as my guitar bass, what I'm using is a one shot. And what I have here is I go to my envelope and I make a box. And the reason why I do that is because when I let go of the note, it's no tail. See how it just cuts off? Where you might mess up at is that you use a bass, a guitar bass, thinking of it like an 808 when it's not. So when I made this bass line, I was thinking, okay, how will a church player play this? You know what I'm saying? So one thing I know a bass guitar likes to do, just me being in church, is they like to move between notes a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know, and they like to play with their octaves, also slides and stuff like that. So that's just some of the things that I considered when I made this. Also, when I did my slides on here, one thing that I did for all my slides, I took it off grid a little bit. So I just put my snap to grid on none, and I just took the slides off grid. Then next what we have is an 808. I did the same thing, just copy and pasted the bass notes from the chord progression to the 808. And as far as the 808, this is what we got here. And this is something that my bro Chaotic taught me is I want to go over side chaining your kick in your 808. So one thing to make your kick breathe a little bit, what you want to do is you want to route your kick to an insert, and you want to route your 808 to an insert. And if you look closely here, you're going to see the kick is going to hit right here. And every time the kick hit, this 808 is going to duck. So all you have to do is you want to click on your kick and you want to click this arrow and just side chain to this track. And then on your 808, what you want to do is you want to put a fruity limiter on it. And you want to go to side chain and you just want to select the insert that your kick is on. What I like to do is I turn the knee all the way up, the ratio all the way up. And you just want to play with your threshold. You know what I'm saying? What I like about fruity limiter is going to show you how much that 808 is ducking when that kick hits. And then you just want to play with the release. You don't want to make it too fast. Like you don't want to hear it and make it noticeable. You know what I'm saying? You just want that kick to hit and the 808 just ducks and comes right back up. It's going to give that kick room. Another thing that I put on my 808 is a plugin called Decapitator. This is like a distortion plugin. And one thing I like about Decapitator is you have a low cut, your high cut, and your tone. So you can really tone the dynamics of your 808 with this plugin. So that's just another thing that I put on my 808 just to make it. That's what gave it kind of that roar, like that growl type shit. So what I did for this first part of the beat is I took the whole beat and I put it on halftime.
They know that every day when I'm breathing.
What I put on here is just a little speech. All I looked up was motivational speech. And then I routed it to insert. And all I put on here is just for hollow room. Just a little bit of reverb. And that's why it like fits in the background.
They know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
But then towards the end, I exported the loop and I brought it down 300 cent. So that's 3 semitones just to give it a key change. And also what I put on here is a plugin called Cassette Transport. And what I like about this is it's kind of like a tape stop, you know what I'm saying? And this is also I think this is a free plugin. So this is what it sounds like.
He said when you want to succeed as bad as you want.
Like that shit just sounds beautiful. So all I did was just make an automation clip here and just recorded that, and when this part came on I just hit play. So that's why you see this right here. That's really it as far as this video. I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, just like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment and like this video. Also, with that being said, man, if you want the free FLP, just hit the link in my description. It's gonna be my Patreon link. It's gonna have the free FLP. Just download it there, you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna come with the sample. And you know what I'm saying, you could flip it, do what you want to do with it. So with that being said, it's your boy TB W's. Me and Juco got a banger dropping for y'all tomorrow. Love y'all, gang. See y'all later.